I want to explain why I'm still staying patient when it comes to XCN, even though nothing I say is financial advice. And even though later on I'm going to discuss why I still have maybe this hypothetical idea in my mind of 25 cents in a moment where, let's say, there is even a fully fledged altcoin season during this cycle. But before that, I want to explain why I'm still staying patient, because I still like the fundamentals of Onyx, and I feel like maybe in terms of its fundamentals, the best days seem to be maybe in front, right? Other projects out there feels like they already kind of accomplished a lot, but I feel like Onyx still has a lot yet to do. For instance, we take a look at Goliath. Supposedly, it's going to be this layer one blockchain for the world of finance. At one point, just even the idea of the testnet seemed like this really kind of thing that people looked forward to. But as of right now, I don't really see many people talking about it anymore. But I'm still caring about this because even when I take a look at the updates that Onyx posts, I mean, it seems like they're still very serious when it comes to the launch of the Goliath testnet, and it's supposedly going to happen in less than 30 days from right now. So I find that pretty interesting. Now, a testnet isn't really going to reveal too much, in my opinion, but if they could just do that, I would think it would be hypothetically a pretty good stepping stone for the mainnet that they're planning to launch next year in Q1 of 2026. So I do like this. And also, sometimes people like to say, oh yeah, the best days are actually behind Onyx. I don't really agree with that, because back then when XCN was doing pretty good, I feel like really there wasn't really much factors to latch onto back then. I mean, that's just the way to take a look at it. What was the hype about when it comes to XCN back then? I felt like people maybe thought it was a miniature version of maybe XLM or XRP, but then it's not really like this fundamentally amazing project, arguably I would say at that time. However, with Goliath, right, with what they're doing with the wallet, with, just the whole vibe overall, I feel like maybe fundamentally, the best days may be in front of it, because again, back then, XCN, despite having a higher price than right now, it wasn't really doing much, I think, fundamentally in terms of Onyx that at least I could kind of latch on to. Now that the price is lower, sometimes people like to tell me, oh, that means the fundamentals became bad. Well, if anything, I think it actually improved. I think the price hypothetically going down is more so about, just selling, and also just the sentiment when it comes to altcoins overall. It's not directly tied, in some cases, just to the fundamentals. This is the way I take a look at it. And when I view maybe the idea of, let's say, 25 cents, right? People like to say, oh, but who knows when it will happen? Well, I think that's kind of what I knew getting into this. Like, for instance, my whole thing is just treating it like a marathon. It's not a sprint for me. Like, personally, whatever happens in the next 2 Tuesdays or the next 3 Mondays when it comes to XCN, sure, it may be different than right now, but then to me, I'm treating it more like a long game, right? I'm not just in here for a week and 2 weeks and then I'm out. So I knew that there was going to be a lot of waiting involved when it comes to XCN, at least personally for me, and just also a bunch of other projects that I do hold. So waiting for me is not an issue, but this is just my whole, kind of vibe when it comes to this. However, why wouldn't I mind waiting? It's because what would I be doing anyways, right? I mean, I'm just waiting as well, so this is why I'm just waiting. However, even besides that, 25 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be nearly 9 billion, around a 20x from here. To me, like, if I see some other projects out there, which I don't even really think is even that revolutionary, then something like Onyx, for instance, reaching the tens of billions of market cap, I see even, like, right now, XLM market cap is like over 10 billion, right? I mean, this doesn't seem like too outlandish, at least personally in my perspective. When I view something like Onyx, I like it not just really because of the adoption, because I don't think it's necessarily the best, but I like its positioning because it is focused on an emerging market, which for quite a while didn't really have much, I think, really viable options. Let me explain why. For quite a while, it was just pretty much either like XRP or XLM, right? But then now there's kind of emerging projects within that sector, like, the ones that are focused on payments and global trade and finance. And I think Onyx is beginning to be recognized as arguably one of them, because XCN market cap is in the hundreds of millions. Like, it's not doing like that bad, right? So now these type of kind of alternatives, I would say, right, beyond something like XLM, for instance, they're beginning to kind of emerge other than just simply, oh, it's only XLM. You know what I mean? So then I like Onyx because it's in this whole situation right now where it doesn't really have like 20 or 30 very reputable competitors. If we kind of like minus XLM XRP from this situation, I mean, we're pretty much taking a look at, arguably, this is just my perspective, right, in terms of like popularity that I could kind of compare a little bit close to XCN is like, ZBCN, something like XDC, something like Swiftcoin or XPR. But that's just like four, beyond XCN. It's nothing really like too much, in my opinion, arguably. So I like its kind of positioning here. But again, I understand that I have to be patient, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm just waiting. But in the meantime, I'm just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. That's it. If I pulled up a random price chart, right? Or let's say just a price chart of XCN, I drew some random triangles. I don't think the market is going to care about that. Like, of course, right? Why would they pay attention to me doing that? So then, why would I do that? If I just pull up a price chart, drew a random triangle, and then every time the market moved, I just kept adjusting it, then I'm just drawing. That's just not my style. What I'd rather do is just literally believe in a project which I find interesting and just hold and just wait, and literally that's it. I mean, if let's say altcoins ever does decide to wake up during the cycle, be it let's say in November, December, all the way to even maybe like, near the end of Q1 of 2026, whenever that timeline is, it's going to be beyond my control. It's like when I first started holding XCN, I didn't know that it was suddenly going to do that, right? And of course, I'm talking about that rally before the pullback, but I was holding. So to me, if let's say hypothetically there's that next leg up, I won't be able to know the exact moment, which is why I'm just holding. I'm not telling them to do anything when it comes to XCN, but it's just personally what I'm doing. I just like the whole vibe overall, which is why I'm staying patient, and that's pretty much it. But I want to stay patient with the projects that I do like. Like for instance, I just like Onyx's fundamentals. I like the market positioning, so I do want to stay patient with it. Now there's other projects out there which I don't want to stay patient with, and I don't want to hold them. But then when it comes to XCN, it is one of them because, again, I just like the whole vibe. Sometimes you like to say, oh, why don't you just believe all in microcaps? Well, it's because I don't necessarily want to believe in a microcap. I mean, maybe hypothetically, it could do better than this in the next 6 months because, again, XCN going to 25 cents is only around, hypothetically, a 20x from here. Some people may think, oh, yeah, it's kind of like not that hypothetically good because take a look at this microcap. Well, maybe, but then that's not something that I do want to believe in, right? However, at the same time, I don't necessarily want to get into like, something with a very massive market cap either. So I do like something in between, and I feel like XCN does fit that category for me. And I'm just staying patient. That's about it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's Believe the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.